Obviously, in the marketplace right now, there's a lot of short sales. You hear this term. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with exactly what a short sale entails. A short sale, what it actually means is that the home is worth less than the mortgages that are owed on it. So there could be a first loan, a second loan, even a third or fourth loan, and the home is worth less than the total of those loans. So a short sale then is a home that has to be sold for less than what is owed on it. And what that means is really you're dealing with not just the seller, you're dealing with the bank also, or the banks, or also if there's other liens such as HOAs that have not been paid, you're dealing with them as well. So with a short sale, the first thing that's going to happen is the seller is going to put together a hardship package. And the hardship package is kind of like buying a home. It's all their financials. Then in addition to the hardship package, then they're going to need an offer and an offer on the home. And they're going to take that offer, they're going to take the hardship package, they're going to take it and give it to the bank or banks if there's multiple banks that have liens on it. And then at that point, you are going to have to wait because it takes a while for everyone to get it all together. We all have heard about how short sales take a very, very long time. So each process, each step of the way, there's a waiting period. Rarely does it happen very quickly. So after the hardship package and the offer is submitted, then you have a negotiator assigned to review the whole package and the offer. Then you wait after the negotiator is assigned, so you have to wait further. And then from that point, you are going to have a broker's price opinion that's going to be ordered on that property. Basically, it's like a little mini appraisal, and it's done by an actual agent, so it's like an agent appraisal. So you will have a broker's price opinion done, and that comes to the bank, and then you wait again. So by now, it could be a couple of months, could be 3 months. And then they will come back and say, you know what, this is what our numbers look like. This is what we would like for the property. So, you know, this offer is not the same. So most of the time you will then get a counter offer. So the counter offer is going to be for basically what the bank is going to agree, because the bank is ultimately the one that's setting the terms for the sale. Even though it's being sold by the seller, the bank is the one that says, I want this price, I want this length of an escrow, I want, I'm not going to pay for certain normal seller items. So the bank actually sets the terms in the short sale. Oftentimes you'll find that the prices on a new short sale are exceptionally low. You say, wow, this is amazing. Look at this home in Orange Park Acres listed for $328. There's a home in Orange Park Acres listed for $328. And if anyone knows Orange Park Acres, it's an equestrian community and it's beautiful estates. It's a silly price. It's not something that actually a bank would ever agree to when the home is worth $550 in true market value. So the intention of that is to, for those agents, is to generate a lot of activity. So everyone's like, wow, wow, wow. So they get a lot of offers. They can select the best offers. Hopefully they're going to get investors with cash, because everyone always wants cash. And then they will submit an offer to the bank. So that is why oftentimes the pricing that you see with a short sale just doesn't seem to make sense, because it's just to generate a lot of interest. So the pricing is being set by the seller and the agent, but the bank is the one that ultimately is going to determine what the price of the home is going to be when it's sold. Another thing to consider too is that oftentimes, especially in the beginning of a short sale, what I like to say is it's oftentimes not really for sale, even though it's listed for sale, because that seller is still trying to do a loan modification. So oftentimes too, you'll see a home come on and off the market. It'll go on hold, it'll go back active, because that seller is still trying to do a loan modification. They haven't completely said, you know what, I want to do a short sale. So that's another thing to think about when you're working with short sales, is the seller may not be quite ready to sell the property yet. So you have to be patient for that as well. When you're putting an offer on a short sale, because as I had mentioned before, the seller is also having to rely on the bank and what their terms are, that the bank will most of the time not be paying for what normally a seller would pay for. For instance, normally a seller will pay for termite work. If it's a condo, the seller will pay for the transfer fees of the HOA documents. and the actual transfer fee, as well as the HOA documents, which can be about $800 to $1,000. So there's all these traditional seller fees. So if you're buying an equity sale like Suzanne was talking about, they would normally pay for those. But with a short sale, you just have to assume that because the bank is already taking less for the property than is owed, that they are going to counter that out. So that's another factor. So when you're offering on a short sale, you never want to be offering high market value, because you know the odds are you're going to have to be contributing more on the back end. So you need to take that into consideration when forming your offer. And with that being said, when you're looking at comparables, let's say you're doing your research and your agent's doing their research and you're reviewing the comparables and you're formulating your offer, and you see that most of the comparables are short sales, keep in mind that those sales prices are not the actual sales price, because more often than not, they had to have a contribution, maybe $2,000, $5,000, $1,000. The termite wasn't paid. The buyer had to pay also for the HOA transfer and such. So the cost of purchasing the home is more for a short sale normally. So keep that in mind when you're actually looking at the comparables. But that is why when you look at the comparables, the short sales normally are lower, but they also have additional fees that are in there that we do not see on the MLS. So we don't have a way to as agents, to put that into the pot. You have to figure that it's going to take at least 30 days to get the approval. And there are some lenders that can move that fast, especially if it's only a first. You can actually get a short sale approval within 30 days or less. But also, it could take a year. I've had a short sale listing that took almost a year myself. So it can take a while. So when you get into the short sale process, you just have to know if you are committed to that home, then you can just hang in there and wait it out. Or, you know, you have your deadline. This is how long I'm going to wait. And if if it doesn't happen by this point, then it's time to move on. Well, there's actually normally multiple negotiators. There's a negotiator. The negotiator I was speaking of is the lender. Yeah, there's each lender has their own negotiator. So we would have, let's say we had a Bank of America first, and we had a E-Trade second. There's two separate negotiators. In addition to that, normally you have a negotiator that is negotiating the short sale from the listing side as well. And that's a different type of negotiator. We call them a negotiator, but it's a different, it's someone that's actually, what their job is to work with the banks to make sure that the banks get all the information that they need. Yes, it is definitely possible to get a deal with the short sale, but you also go through a lot more work too, and potential, ups and downs that you wouldn't with another transaction.